Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. All right, so paid question for Dr. Raymond. Now, Dr. Raymond has a beautiful vintage date sub, reference number 168000, aka the 000. And you can see it right here. Beautiful watch. Look at the chamfers on that watch. And it's a tritium dialed watch. And look at the pip. The pip has turned red, and I've never seen that before. That's beautiful. And he bought it papers, and we'll talk about his purchase history in a minute with that watch, which is kind of interesting. But let me read his question. He writes, my question is, did Rolex ever market a Submariner date with a reference 168000? And he has that last zero underlined because it's important, as we'll see. He continues, from my research, the only place a reference number of 168000 shows up is on the actual watch case between the lugs at the 12 o'clock position. And those watches all had the paperwork as 16800s, which was its predecessor. The extra zero on the cases only indicated that these transitional cases were of 904L steel. Except for the case material, the 16800 and the 168000 are exactly the same watch. I have not seen any Rolex paperwork, boxes, tags, etc. that have the actual reference number 168000. Searches for the 000 with papers, as on Chrono 24, etc., all show the paperwork as 16800s. Please let me know if you can shed any light on this elusive reference and if I am correct in my findings. Well, it appears you are. This is a transitional piece, and like you said, the difference between it and its predecessor, the 16800, well, there are only two differences, and one of them you can't even visually tell, and that's the case material. The predecessor was made out of 316L steel, whereas the 000 was the transition piece when Rolex started making the date subs out of 904L steel. And that's not something you can look at the watch and tell. The only other indicator is, if you look at the reference number, it's got an extra zero. So that's the indicator. Not even the papers will give an indication that it's really a different reference. And this is a transitional piece. It was made in from 1987 to 1988, only for 7 to 9 months. And so it really is a rare watch, sort of a blip in the history of the date sub. And his main question is, did they market the watch? And you know, I take that to mean, did it make it into advertisements? Well, you know, I've seen advertisements like this, but I've never seen any mention in advertisements of the actual 000. And I would say that it probably didn't. I mean, I can't say for sure, but I would be really surprised because this is a transition piece. And I think when they made this piece, they really had their sights set on what was to become his successor, the 16610, which was the last pre-ceramic date sub. So Rolex sometimes does that. They did it with this. This is a 16710, and if you're lucky enough to get one of those M or Z references, the later ones, then it very well might have the updated movement, which is the 3186 movement with a parachrome spring. This is the 3185 movement, and they never marketed this as such. Well, when I say they didn't market it, it didn't make it advertisements. Now, come to think of it, it didn't even, you know, there was no real indication that there was any difference. And, you know, if you were to look just at the papers, you wouldn't know the difference. Now, of course, you can do the wiggle test, and a watchmaker can crack the back and see, but you know, my whole point in talking about this watch is that Rolex, when it comes to these transition pieces and the transitions into new references, sometimes those older references get the upgrade, and this seems to be the case. So because of the short lifespan run of this watch, I think it's pretty clear that Rolex really were thinking towards the 16610. but for some reason, maybe they wanted to see if, cut their teeth on machining the 904L, decided to put the upgrade basically in the 16800 and not really acknowledge it, except for on the case. And I gotta say, I think that's more for them than anything, just so they know, okay, this case actually is made out of our 904L. Maybe they need that for service purposes, or just so if they get one of their old watches, they know that, this is not a 316L, this is a 904L. Just more for them than the customer. I mean, the fact that they don't even put it on the papers kind of indicates that it's not something the customer really needed to know about. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised, back then, Rolex watches, they weren't collectible in the same way they are today. And so my guess is that Rolex probably thought, 16800 owners, they won't even really realize is this the better steel, right? So my point is that it really wasn't for them. So my guess is that they incorporated it maybe just to sort of test out the machining of the 904L. Same reason maybe they stuck the 3186 in this, just to maybe say how it performed a bit and work out the kinks before they put it into their brand new reference, which is going to garner a lot more publicity and be a lot more embarrassing if something goes wrong with it. So the short answer to your question, no, they don't appear to have marketed it or made any mention of this transition piece, aside from that one extra zero on the case. And like I said, I think that's more for them. Now, it's kind of interesting because Dr. Raymond bought his watch as a 16800. It was sold to him as such. And it was only after he popped the bracelet that he realized he had a 000. Wow, that's a nice surprise. Absolutely. I mean, that's a great surprise. But you can read between the lines and see that he's a little bit worried about it, perhaps, and just wants some answers to clarify. But I think all is good. I hate to introduce this, but it appears that because that's the only difference, some people have, and again, this could be a urban legend that's made its way to the Rolex forum, but perhaps some shady people have started putting the extra zeros on the 16800s, okay, themselves, and doing so they can charge a premium, because aside from that 10 on the case, there's no really way to test it unless you're looking to test the steel in it, and I wouldn't even begin to know how to do that. So that's something to be careful about. And if you are looking to get this reference, they say you want to look at that last zero very carefully and make sure it's straight and aligned and nothing looks amiss with that last zero, because there isn't going to be any other indicator of that being the 000. One other indication that it's a genuine 000 is the date. If you look at the date wheel, and the 9s and the 6s are open 9s and open 6s. So if you've got a closed 6 and a closed 9, well, that could indicate that something's amiss. It could be a replacement dial wheel, but hopefully you've got open 6s and open 9s, and they should be either starting serial number R or 9, and his starts with a 9, so everything's looking good with his. And I think if he paid a 16800 price and got a surprise of getting the 000, I think that's excellent buying. So nice job there. All right, guys, well, what do you think? What do you think of these transition pieces? Yeah, Rolex does this, and why do they do it? Well, like I said, I think they just do it to work out the kinks before the big announcement for the new reference comes out, because God forbid something happens following the fanfare of a new reference being released. So that's my take on it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the question, Dr. Raymond. Enjoy your watch. That's a beautiful watch. And if you got a question for me, check out the description of this video. PayPal me $10 and I'll make a video answering your question. Take care. Thanks for watching. See you next time.